When JAFCO first invited me to be the keynote speaker for today's luncheon, I was incredibly honored, and when I heard about the 750 people coming, I was even more incredibly anxious. I'm still a little anxious if you can't tell. Okay, full transparency. Sarah just told you that I'm 20. I'm in college studying to be an ultrasound technician and working part-time at Publix. I had no idea what a keynote speaker even was. So, of course, I Googled and was relieved to find out that actually the definition of a keynote speaker is very often misunderstood and often confused with an industry expert, a motivational speaker, a juggler, an illusionist, or a former Miss America. So, wow. But then, as I read on, I was quite shocked to find out that, surprisingly, I am actually very qualified to be your keynote speaker. Because a keynote speaker must be able to capture and share with their audience the essence and missions of the organization they are representing. Anything related to how amazing JAFCO is, piece of cake. When I began to search for the words I needed for today, it was a huge challenge and an even harder challenge to figure out why. The tears began to flow into my paper before I could put my first word on it. Preparing for this day has helped me figure out my life in a way that I would never have expected. The first thing I learned is that it is a little scary to speak in front of 750 people, but I wish you could see from where I am standing how beautiful the room looks with all of you in it. The second thing I learned is that this keynote address being all about me is a brand new experience for me because my life has never, ever been about me. You see that up until recently, I had only felt that my feelings were secondary, if not an outright burden. That's what makes it so difficult to stand before you and speak candidly about my experiences as a typical sister of 3 younger siblings with disabilities. But at the same time, the incredible way it feels to have permission to stand up here and even talk about myself and my feelings for the first time in my entire life is almost impossible for me to describe to you in words. Just for the record, my amazing dad, whom you just met in the video, is also in this room. Hey, Dad. But he has no idea about what I'm about to share about my childhood. Now, that takes a lot of guts as a parent, but you've all seen that my dad has a lot of guts, so before I even begin, I want to say this to you, Dad. Daddy, I love you with all my heart, and all that I'm about to share, I do only with the utmost respect and love for you. It is only to let everyone know how hard it is to be a parent or a typical child in a family where there are children with autism or other disabilities. My only hope is that my story today will change someone else's life for the better. Thank you for loving me enough to give me this life-changing opportunity and for always treating me like your princess. When my sister Sophia was diagnosed with autism, she was about 2 and I was about 4. So I can't actually remember a time in my life where I wasn't the older sibling of a child with a disability. There were 2 more to follow, but Sophia is the center of my story and my life. My parents always made it very clear to me that Sophia was special. My mom did her best to explain the autism by saying that Sophie had a boo-boo on her brain. So when I was little and Sophia would flap her arms or have meltdowns when she would cry herself hoarse, it was easy to attribute those behaviors as being caused by her imaginary injury. But there were other things that happened that were not that easy and were certainly not imaginary. I spent my entire childhood as the frightened little girl who was expected to be an adult and to be so understanding about everything. I wish that hadn't happened. I should not have had to be understanding the time we were grocery shopping in Publix when Sophie calmly leaned over in a Publix shopping cart and bit my chest so hard she practically pulled out a hunk of skin, and it hurt so badly that I could hardly breathe. I shouldn't have had to be understanding when Sophia's bathing and medication became my responsibility at the age of only 10. I shouldn't have had to be understanding on those many nights when Sophia kicked holes into the wall next to the bunk bed we shared. I shouldn't have had to be understanding when my mom told me that she didn't have time to deal with Sophia or myself for the entire day and would shut herself in her room. I shouldn't have had to be the only person Sophia would listen to. It should not have been my responsibility to keep things stable, and yet, without fail, it always seemed to fall on me to manage her aggression, to make sure she bathed or she didn't smell or missed her medication or eat herself to death, as many children with disabilities do when their families simply do not know how to manage saying no to the constant eating, which ends up causing an enormous weight gain. And finally, sorry, Dad, this is the hard one, but I have to say it once and be done, okay? Although I totally get it now as an adult, and I don't blame you, I shouldn't have had to step up as a child when you and Mom became emotionally sick from all of the stress in your lives. It was really scary to watch you both slowly check out of participating in life. I didn't get it then, but I do get it now, and I love you. Through no fault of her own, Sophia became the ball and chain that kept me from doing things that girls my age should have been able to do. Going on dates and going to football games were things I would have loved to do as a teenager, but when I tried, I was faced with such heavy opposition from my mother, who needed me at home to care for my sister, that it didn't seem worth the effort. I need everyone in this room to know that I have never resented Sophia for even a second, but I guess I really resented not ever having the chance to be a kid. And there is something else that I do finally understand. You see, all this time, I thought that I was saving Sophia's life, but in reality, she's the reason I'm standing here today. I hope you're not expecting to hear that we were ice skating on a frozen lake and she pulled me out of the freezing water when the ice cracked, because I don't even know how to ice skate. It's nothing that's sensational. Well, that's not true. It's actually even more sensational. While it may not have been fair that the responsibility fell to me to take care of Sophia, that very responsibility kept me from engaging in all of the behaviors and the activities that eventually took our mother from us from a drug overdose. If Sophia had been able to fend for herself, maybe I would have had time to party, to experiment with drugs, and would have likely been doomed to repeat the genetic cycle that is so common in families with addiction, and that ended my mom's life way too soon. I want to truly thank you for asking me to speak today, because you helped me figure out my entire life. This is the first time I've ever said these words out loud. All of my life, while I thought I was saving my sister, I didn't realize until this very moment that my baby sister Sophia was actually saving me. So much has changed since I lost my mom 2 years ago. That certainly wasn't easy, but at the same time I regained my dad, who became stronger and healthier and took on all the kids, as you just saw in that video. It takes incredible courage to look in the mirror and evaluate what you need to do better. And it's because my dad had that courage that I am now able to live my life without the responsibility of my siblings on my shoulders. My dad remarried, and my stepmom has been an incredible role model for my little brothers and sisters and for me. Daddy, thank you so much for finding yourself again. I know it was a long road. I'm sorry. And it took losing a lot to find yourself here, but you did it, and I'm so proud of you. It's because of you that I can finally walk a path that allows me to think about myself, for myself. I don't think I would be the woman I am today if you hadn't had the courage to pick yourself back up and do what you need to do, not only for Sophia, Matthew, and Anthony, but for all of us. I love you. I'm in college studying medical sonography, which is fancy for ultrasound technician, like we said. So maybe you'll run into me one day soon. I'm living with my boyfriend, Frank, who's incredibly supportive, and for some reason, he's completely unfazed by what it means to be with someone with a crazy family like mine. Frank, I'm so lucky to have you in my life, even though you don't make the bed in the morning. But I've left out a big something in between all of this, and that is how each and every one of you in this room saved my family by supporting JAFCO and dreaming, building, and creating the Children's Ability Center. Our family was at rock bottom when we met our JAFCO family, and now we are here with all of you today, helping us get stronger and better each and every day. A little update on Sophia. She and I have a better relationship than most siblings in our situation. No one can get her to perform like I can, and every time she sees me now, she asks when she's going to come over to my house. She can make me laugh, and I like to think that she still feels a little safer with me than with other people. I love her with all my heart, and looking back on my life with her, I would not change a thing. Except, of course, her weight, and there's good news about that too. With JAFCO helping add structure into our lives, and with the help of my amazing new stepmom, Allison, Sophia was able to lose over 80 pounds. I know, I want to jump up and down every time my parents tell me her weight dropped again. Because of your support of JAFCO, you have each provided Christmases for my family when there was going to be no Christmas. You provided respite services for my dad so he could take a breath, therapy and recreation for my siblings, and so much fun and fulfillment that the kids just love going to JAFCO. You have sent my brother Mikey to sleepaway camp to give him the break that all typical sibs need, in addition to the sibling support groups coming up from my new stepbrother Gary, who's just learning what it means to be in this unique and challenging role. Our family may not be perfect, but we are now officially awesome. I know in the deepest place in my heart that none of this would have happened without JAFCO in our lives. There are simply no words to express how grateful I am, but there is something you can do for me if you are a parent or grandparent raising a child with a developmental disability or know someone who is. Promise me 2 things. First, ask for help. You do not need to walk this road alone. JAFCO is here to help. It's one simple phone call and it all just magically unfolds from there. I cannot even imagine what would have happened to my family if I did not make that call a few years ago, but I'm so glad that I did. And the second thing I ask, if you have or know a typical sibling like me, give him or her a big hug and acknowledge them for all that they do. Trust me, it'll go a long way. Standing at this podium today has brought clarity, strength, and meaning to my life, and sharing my life story publicly for the first time and with all of you is a moment that I will never forget. Thank you for this opportunity. I am forever grateful.